I always start every post with, but I believe I'm live. And it doesn't really matter anyway because I'm only streaming to my YouTube and there's not going to be a whole lot of first watch as it goes. I also didn't schedule it ahead of time. So, anyways, but I'm trying to be disciplined about doing this and making sure that I don't miss many weeks. So let's get into it. I am in Seattle and it has been a crazy couple of weeks. Let me see if I can. Oh, I can't kill my noise cancellation, but I assume you can hear me. So yeah, if you're in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. My headset should be working. All right. So last couple weeks, where have I been? Let's go see. I haven't streamed since the 7th, which was Monday last week, and I got to do something really awesome last week. So I'll get into that. So the 7th was when I streamed last. This is now the 17th, and I went to Erie, Pennsylvania. Kat and I headed to Erie. It was really neat because it was kind of one of those, they say, don't meet your heroes, right? Like the don't meet your heroes thing or meet your heroes. I did get to meet my hero. There is a person that has been extremely instrumental for me in the last 3 or 4 years since she became the director of CISA, started changing the way CISA interacted. I mean, CISA is not an old agency. It's only 2018. But ultimately, as the director of CISA, she came and really, in my opinion, started a mantra that we can move behind that is actually good. It's secure by design, secure by default, and now adding secure by demand in the statement that one must demand it from our companies, or right, this open letter from JP Morgan, CISO, all of those kind of things. So it was really neat because I was heading to Erie and I saw that she was going to be the keynote at 3 p.m. or 3:30 p.m. And I was at 1 p.m. So I'm like, holy crap, I'm going before Jen Easterly on stage. And in my deck, it's a fun walkthrough comparison of human behavior with respect to technology over the course of history, at least in short history since the 1870s, 1880s. And then talking about it in respect of technology that we use every day today. And it really heavily talks about secure by design. It goes into that in rhetorical fashion. And it's heavily featuring Jen Easterly. So I'm like, man, I'm putting on a post about Jen Easterly or a talk for an hour about Jen and about the future state of our world. And then she's going to be there. And so I call the handlers there at VNet, the people that are running the show, and said, hey, is she going to be there listening to me? Because if so, I'm horrified. And they're like, no, don't worry. In fact, her contract says we can't even contact her till 3 p.m. to come get her from the hotel to bring her over for 3:30. And so you're clear. Whew. Okay. I feel good. And then I'm standing there getting mic'd up. I'm 10-ish or so minutes from going on stage. And I find out that she has reached out and asked to come watch my talk. I tagged her in my post saying that I was going to be speaking. And we've met a couple of times in the past, but nothing that she would remember. And anyways, it went well. I was horrified. I actually ran like 8 minutes over on my 48 minute or whatever, 54 minutes. Anyway, so I ran over. But it was a good conversation. She took lots of pictures. I think she's just an extremely empathetic leader. I think she's one of those people that'll make you feel good if she can in any way. But also it builds a lot of assets and trust and personal power. And I think she just does a really good job with that. So Meet Your Heroes did not fall apart as it could in some cases. Okay, so I did that. That was I flew to Erie. That was so. It's constantly bad. I think that one we had 2 cancellations. We had a plane maintenance issue. I lost my shit about United and posted a post about United Airlines and the problems that I've been seeing from that. And this year's just been a test. Last year was a test. It's just worse and worse every year, and I'm just getting tired. So we get to Erie, and actually we go to Buffalo. So we get into Buffalo at like 12:54 or something a.m. instead of being there. We were supposed to be there at 8 or something, 8 p.m. And so here we are 5 hours later. Get our rental car. And when I go to get the rental car, it was not a good experience. It was not a love story. I'm in the Avis line, and there's like 12 people in front of me. There's two guys working the counter. It's late, right? It's late. Planes came in late. Anyways, and I'm unsure if this is one of those Avises where I can just go out and go pick up my keys and go to my car and be done, or if it's one of those Avises where I need to stand in that line, go through all the process with them. And so I asked one of the gentlemen, I said, sir, asking the question, do I need to just stand here or go outside? What are the options for Avis Preferred? And he goes to ask his manager. He says, I'll ask my manager. I don't know. And he turns to his manager. There's the manager of the operation. Guy just ignores him. Just just literally ignores him. He tries to talk and he just ignores him. I ask him, he just ignores me, and like actively ignored, like looking at you and not saying anything. And so I end up being very frustrated. I took a picture of the guy, and then oh goodness, my AirPods came back, I guess. I don't know. I took a picture of the guy, and he asked, "Why'd you take my picture?" And I said, "Well, I'll be honest. This is probably one of the ruder experiences I've had. I've not had someone actively ignore me and others, their employees, and be so disdaining about it. And so I just not happy about it. And anyway, so he hands me my car. I leave. Come back, drop the car off at 8:50 a.m., 8:53 a.m. on the 11th, and it was supposed to be doing at 8:30, which is fine. You just pay a little extra, right? Or you pay less depending on when you picked it up. Anyways, and I asked the attendant, "Hey, what do we do?" He goes, "Oh, I'll just put the keys in the car." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Wouldn't get up, didn't move. There were like 6 rows wide, 30 cars in front of me, 20 something cars in front of me, and piling up quick behind. And so I'm guessing they're just understaffed and just left it alone. Anyway, so I go on. I get home, and I wake up Saturday morning, and I'm like, I need to do my expenses, which is one of the things that I get done. And I go to do my expenses, and I don't have a receipt. I look in the Avis app, and it says, "Hey, car's still out." I'm like, "No, it isn't. It's in the Buffalo garage, like I promised." And so I reach out to support, and the woman first tells me, "Hey, you know what? You're right. I do see the car back. They just haven't checked it in. You have to give them 48 hours for them to check it in. So all good." Um, I waited another day, still no receipt. So now I call Sunday morning going, "Hey, like what's going on?" And they're like, "Well, we're going to file a ticket. We're going to escalate this. It's 5 to 7 business days for that team. So they'll get on it. Don't worry about it. No email, no ticket, no status." And if you're in an MSP, think about this from that corollary. Where do you create those types of experiences for people, right? Moving forward, I now have a ticket open with Avis. I'm very frustrated. I've had to call back a couple times. I haven't gotten any update. I'm asking, "Hey, is there even a ticket?" And they finally email me and give me proof that there's a ticket. I'm really starting to gather evidence. This is now Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today, and finally, Monday morning, I get a call and a text and an email from Avis Loss Prevention, threatening to call the police and say that they're filing a police report for a stolen vehicle if I don't return it immediately. And I'm like, I get on the call with this loss prevention team, and I'm like, "Listen, I've returned the car. I have a ticket number with Avis. Like, what are you doing? Does left hand not know what right hand is doing?" And I think this is takeaway point number 2 for MSPs, which is, like, first, there's that experience piece, but how many times do you have silos where something goes this direction and something else goes that direction? A VCIO is not talking to a TAM, and TAM's not talking to help desk to set the expectations to documentation. TAM isn't setting the teams and infrastructure admin with information. And so this basically, you have this disjointed piece where someone's trying to prosecute, trying to call the police, trying to call and say that I'm still in a car. And another team that's supposed to be trying to find the car that I've called in and said, "Hey, listen, I need my receipt. Why do I not have a receipt? The car was dropped off on this time." No updated unified notes space. Right. Fast forward Tuesday morning, I get a charge for $3,000 on my card from Chase, saying it's a fraud alert. And I'm like, okay, what is going on now? Short story long, they finally got it figured out. They finally found the car. It had been there. I have a high suspicion the manager was just being a dick, unfortunately. And so they got it. I paid the original price and everything's fine. Lesson number 3 for an MSP. Nobody called me back. Nobody closed loop. I just got a receipt for the proper amount. That's it. I didn't even get a close of the ticket. No updates, nothing. And I'm not saying that it's as egregious as that, but I think there are many times that I personally have not given someone a closed loop. Someone has not been brought back. They're like, "Oh, they'll figure it out. I don't have to call them and tell them. They know it's closed now. We're good." But there's a certain amount of, like, I don't want to rent another car from Avis. I don't feel closure. I don't feel made whole. I don't feel like any of this should have cost me 3.5 hours, 4.5 hours of my time when I already have a fairly limited time budget as it sits. So it was just a very bad experience in general. So, okay. So that was the end of that trip. I was home for a day, and then Kat and I took back off and went to, where are we now? Seattle. Went to Seattle. Well, before I go there, I've got a few guys on, it looks like. So hi to anybody that's here. Say hey in the chat if you want to. But also, I obligatorily, PAX 8 has a awesome webinar going on right now. You can catch it as a live stream right now, or you can catch it as a replay. But really, it's talking about the responsibility that vendors have and that we have as an organization to protect your data, and what happens when it goes wrong, and how can you protect yourself better. What are the things you can do to prevent ransomware and things of that nature? Pretty cool webinar over there. So Anyways, all right, back to where I'm at. So let's just go over the raw stats. I'll bring this up. You don't have to look at my ugly mug. All right. I added 4 more presentations, one of those being in front of the great Jen Easterly. It blew my mind that she found my stuff to be valuable. But 4 presentations, that brings me to 113 presentations this year totally. 36 hours of education. I have finally scheduled those 2 classes. So if anybody is wanting to watch those classes or come take my live instructor training, I do have both my classes scheduled for September and August, respectively, I believe, or August and September, respectively. So I will be adding another 12 plus 2, so another 14 hours or so of instructor-led training this year, 1 more this quarter. And then I'm at 6 more flights. I'll have 2 more today, but I'm at 6 more flights. We're now at 63, 5 more hotel nights. I do believe I've already included last night in this, and I will not hopefully be staying in a hotel, God willing, and the creek don't rise. I'm at 1 more ride share. I will have 1 more just to get to Seattle Airport here in a little bit. No more driving trips. I don't even know that I have another driving trip scheduled this year. I think everything's airplanes with the venerable and amazing and repeatably awesome United Airlines. Okay. And then 47 cities. I don't know that I put in my plus, but I think I've added 3 more cities. So I just messed up in my graphic, but I'll go fix that before I forget. But 47 cities now that we've been in, Kat and I, throughout this trip or throughout this year. So those are kind of stats where we're at today. I am caught up on that. Where am I now? So I flew to Seattle on Sunday afternoon. And the reason is I do a lot of advisory work. I know that's hard to believe that I like to talk, but I've been involved with advisory with companies for a long time, since probably 2016, 2017 or so. And one of that started as was that when we were an MSP, and I was responsible for a lot of our strategic relationships, is what we called it, or what I called it. And as the director of security and technology, hey, what's up? Oh, good to see y'all. Yes, it has been a busy year. I think that's Shane or Don. I may be wrong on that. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But anyways, yeah, so I started when we were an MSP. I wanted to have influence, and it kind of came to this point of as we got bigger and bigger, we all realized it was just really hard to turn the ship. If you wanted to change a product to another product, you had training, you had education, documentation, procurement, deployment, removal of the old, integration, right? Automation of those things where possible. And so there's just so much to do. And so to do that, you took a long time. I mean, it could take you 3 to 6 months to change tools potentially, depending on what you were doing. It was Colin. Oh, even better. Yeah, good to see you. Actually, if anybody's looking for a pretty dope engineer, Colin is my boy. I apologize. The stizzle threw me off. I'm good. So I believed that way to accomplish that the best was to be on advisory councils. And so I joined basically anybody we had $1 million a year or more spend with. I wanted to be on the advisory panel with, like Microsoft, WatchGuard, a whole bunch of them. Green Cloud, but not because of the $1 million a year at that point. Anyways, there were 26 of them that I ultimately joined and did advisory with over the course of 2017 to 2021. So whatever that is, 4 or 5 years, 5, I suppose. Anyways, and I only have, I think, 1 that I'm still on from that legacy time frame that I'm still an advisor on, and that's WatchGuard. And it's interesting for me. I'm in WatchGuard. I'm at WatchGuard right now in Seattle. That's where they're headquartered. I've been on an advisor for them since I think 6 or 7 years. I think this has been a very long time for me. And it just dawned on me this is the only one that I'm still involved with from then. So others that I'm involved with now, but not that have made it through this time. And I think a lot of it for me is that WatchGuard's kind of always been the ones that want to serve that SMB, more so even than your Sonic Walls or other, which I like Sonic Wall as well. So I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying that of those legacy firewall, next gen firewall, UFW, all the things stuff, and now heading into SASE and cloud and all of those other aspects. The WatchGuard is just one of those where they treat you right. I'll give you great examples. I show up and they have sparkling water. They know I'm gluten-free. They accommodate and know about CAT as an entity in our life collectively. And so, yeah, I like it. I will say one of the things that I haven't, no, I think I won't. I feel like, well, I'll say what my standards are and why I stay somewhere. And that maybe that'll speak towards what I was going to say. So where will I not advise? And I know I might be pointing fingers at myself, so please take this with a grain of salt. But if the founder or founders are extremely arrogant, I just won't. If there's no humility to be seen in that space where they know everything, they're God, they're the smartest human in the world. They've done this. This is their baby. They've got it. Like I just don't know how I can advise that person. They already know everything. They already have all this solved. They don't need me. Why would they need me? So that's the first one. But then kind of in a close second in that is if they can't execute, right? Like I could give all the advice in the world. It's like, hey, I need to give an advice to somebody that needs to survive a situation. If they don't listen to me, they're going to die. But then why would I give advice if they can't do it, if they can't execute, if they can't take that and go to fruition with what they're doing? And that's typically why I've left a good majority of advisory roles over time is just they just can't execute sometimes, where and how do you see that coming out? You see that coming out when you have a group of people that are advising, that are trusted, they're being brought on for that advisory, saying something, and then the next year saying it again, and then the next year saying it again, and the next year saying it again. Oh, then why? Why waste all our time? Why waste everybody's time? Yours, mine, and everyone's, right? And so you have this situation where I only stay if I feel like they can execute and if they can continue to move. And I know that sounds arrogant. Again, back to my first point, I have to have some humility here. I'm not always right. I get things wrong. I've given bad advice. I have for sure. And so I think there's one of those things where, anyway, so I understand the hypocrisy of this statement as I'm also talking about my standards there. Oh, what's up, Darren? It's great to see you, brother. Yeah, man, I'm an advisor. I do things. I don't know if best advisor. I'm a decent advisor, I suppose. I hope. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, no. So that's why I'm here now. It was really cool because we got to go sailing. We had dinners every night, but it is exhausting. I mean, when you think about it, we were there from basically 7:30, 8 o'clock. I think 8:15 was one of the start days, and then 8:30 was the other. But 8 to 8:30 was a welcome hi. Come see the office. Anyways, 8 to 5. I mean, literally 8 to 5. You have 30-minute sessions, 45-minute sessions, hour sessions. And for anybody that's not been an advisor, maybe I'll cast some kind of like, what does that look like? I just had to have this conversation about being an advisor somewhere else actually today. In that conversation, like, what does it look like? Typically what I think a good advisory session looks like is talk, listen, ask question, listen on the behalf of the company needing the advice. What is not a good advisory is when you all get in a room as the advisors, the executives come up, they dog and pony show where they're going, and there's not any discussion. There's not any pushback or change or let's talk about this or no, I don't think that lands or no, that's fucking great. There isn't any of that kind of thing. It's really just meant to be only that last statement by everybody. That's great. Oh, you're doing great. You're wonderful. This is what the world needs. You are the savior to man. So when I was doing advisories, I would rank them 0 to 10, right? So where do I think they fall from me getting something done here? That was the basic metric. Like, can I influence change in this organization as an outsider, as an advisor? That's the raw question. That's all I wanted to answer. And I'd rank them on 0 to 10. And it was usually along lines like what I just talked about. Like if they're going to come in and circle jerk, if you will, and everybody talk about how great we are, then there's probably not going to be a lot of value built. You're only trying to get me to be an influencer about your world. Does that make sense? Like, one is me trying to help you be better because you think you have flaws and need to change and stay with the market and understand my industry and understand the market that I'm dealing with, the market position I'm in, right? That's one piece. The other is I want you to see how great I am so that you evangelists can leave this meeting, talk about being an advisor and saying how amazing our company is. Those are kind of different outcomes that I've experienced over the years of what the impact is. What I like about WatchGuard, and I will say specifically of why I'm still here, is WatchGuard is one of those where I don't know that I ever have not come in punching things that still need to be done and arguing about what we think we agree with is valuable and what's not, and talking about the nuanced challenges and oversharing the forces and reasons behind. They've just been really transparent and extremely real. And I feel like we're able to convey a message. The message is heard. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. Last year, I saw them toss. Okay, I'm going to dance around my non-disclosures here. I can't. I don't think I can. Okay, I'm trying hard. I'm trying to think how I can talk about it. We gave a concept last year that when I saw it on the board, I was shocked. It was around zero trust. I didn't think it defined zero trust appropriately. I felt like it was a miscategorization of what the overall product really needed to be. I felt like in some ways it was a bastardization of what that meant needed to be. And the same person that pitched that idea this year came back and on almost 100% redefined the messaging, redefined their own understanding of what they were building. I'm not trying to make this sound aggrandizing. It's simpler. I just don't want to break what they're building from that perspective. But now I completely agree. Like, and so that kind of change is what makes me come back every year. When someone takes what a group of humans they brought to solve a problem in as a collective and what their advice was and what their shock was. And that's what's interesting. And this can also be a problem in advisories. I didn't mean to turn this into like to a total advisory vlog session. But this can also be a problem in advisories if everybody does agree, but they're wrong. Like if all of us in a room are like, no, this is the best thing you got to do, and then we're all wrong. Now listening to the collective was stupid, unfortunately. So one hopes that by filling a room with very, very successful MSPs and humans that are in this space, that one doesn't find themselves in that space, then the barometer is accurate, but it could just as equally not be accurate in that regard. Back to that humility point. So, so they're one of those where even for the things that do frustrate you, I think they've been the best advisory I've been on to date. And I think they do healthy. They have a new CEO who is quite impressive, and I have a lot of belief in what he wants to do. Anyways, get off that tangent, I suppose. But I'm happy to be home. I'm going to be home. Kat and I fly home here in about now. After this, I've got a couple calls I have to take in an Uber and some things. But heading home, get home tonight. I'm kind of playing hooky tomorrow. I'm going to be a terrible human. I'm gonna take tomorrow off. I have one meeting tomorrow, and I'm going to take it on the trail while riding my bicycle. So I'm taking my Saturday on Friday, and then Saturday we get up at 7 a.m. fly to Detroit. Next week's going to be wild because we go to Detroit. I'm speaking. I'm going to be doing some stuff on the charity with Jason, working on some stuff for the hackening and also for some stuff we're building right now, which is part of the new hack AI stream we've been doing. But Jason and I are building a GitHub vulnerability scanner that allows me to accelerate bug bounties really quickly. I actually filed my first bug bounty with this tool. So I was I don't know that it's going to get accepted, but I believe it will. It's like a 3.0. It's not super bad, but anyways. But the point is like I was able to make a very, very fast way to scan multiple things. Jason built all of the tech at this point. It's been all Jason's coding, just my kind of help in design and use and testing and things. But anyways, I applied it to one that I found in HackerOne. I pulled their stuff. I then was able to distill that down into what the actual actual vulnerabilities were. I was able to use basically all agents and LLMs to do the work, and it took seconds. So I think I calculated I have 4 minutes in this bug bounty that I filed. It's maybe worth $100, but 4 minutes is a good number, especially since the way I'm using it right now is one thread where I'm just like tossing in a GitHub repo. At some point, we're going to make it where it can pull from HackerOne API and then go pull those resources, send them to the appropriate agents for research, and then do that all just with compute credits from AI, and then basically just review the reports, validate, do POCs, things of that nature. We've got all kinds of plans for it. But anyways, so I get to do a little bit of that with Jason Nerdy on Sunday. And then on Monday and Tuesday, Jason has a event in Toledo, Ohio, that I'm going to be speaking to his end partners. As first time I actually get to put on my PAX 8 hat and go work for Jason, which is kind of cool. It's always been the other way around, where he's helping me out at PAX 8 with various things, boot camps, other kind of stuff. So it was kind of cool. And then I fly down to Louisiana, and I'll be in Louisiana seeing my boys Bob Miller and I don't want to forget anybody now, Tara and Roddy Bergeron and who else? Brett Mesh and a whole bunch of folks down in Louisiana to go speak at the Northwest Louisiana something, maybe Southwest, I don't know, somewhere Louisiana. And then after that, I'm home for a couple days. Yeah. So anyways, right in the thick of it. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I think the other thing that I wanted to cover on this live stream was, I don't have anything else. I'm good. Yeah. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you next time.